Have you ever felt that nagging sensation? Being perpetually overwhelmed, always looking for something more, but somehow feeling less fulfilled.
Yeah, it's a really common feeling today.
It is, isn't it?
And it leads right into what Dr. Lemke calls the plenty paradox. I mean, think about it.
Okay.
We've got more food, more luxury, more free time, even better access to mental health care than, well, ever in history.
Right. Objectively, things seem pretty good on many fronts.
Exactly. But globally, people are saying they're less happy, more depressed, more anxious. It's quite startling.
And we're even seeing shorter lifespans in some places due to things we can change, like diet and activity, amidst all this abundance.
It really makes you stop and think, what is going on here?
It absolutely does. And that's really the core question in Dr. Anna Lemke's The Official Dopamine Nation Workbook. So today, we're diving deep into her work. We want to unpack why this abundance itself might be acting like a stressor.
Yeah, how it might be feeding into these rising rates of addiction, anxiety, depression, all of it.
Our mission here is to explore how our brains are fundamentally changing, with this constant flood of easy pleasure.
And crucially, what you can actually do about it. How to maybe reset those reward pathways to find a more flourishing life.
Exactly. This deep dive is all about giving you actionable insights, fast and clear.
Okay.
So let's unpack this plenty paradox a bit more. Dr. Lemke points out something pretty profound.
What's that?
That almost every part of our lives has been really engineered to be more positively reinforcing.
Ah, okay. So more rewarding.
More rewarding, more accessible, always new, always more potent, basically. More addictive.
And that's kind of fascinating how universal that's become. Like you said, basic survival needs are met for so many.
Right. Food, shelter.
Yeah, and more disposable income, more access to luxuries, more leisure time than ever, even for people who historically had very little.
Yet happiness isn't keeping pace.
It's actually declining in many demographics. And her core insight here is this isn't just about bad choices we make individually.
It's the environment.
It's baked into the design of our modern world, pushing us towards this constant consumption.
Okay, so if we want to understand this and maybe push back a little, where do we start?
Well, the first step, according to the workbook, is data, facts, not just how we feel about our habits.
Right, get objective.
The workbook defines addiction really broadly. It's compulsive use despite harm.
And let's be honest, most of us, even if we don't have a life-threatening addiction, probably struggle with some form of compulsive overconsumption.
Oh, definitely. And the workbook really encourages you to pinpoint these specific things. It's not just drugs or alcohol, obviously.
What else?
It could be media, endless scrolling, doom scrolling.
Guilty.
Certain foods, especially sugar, ultra-processed stuff, workaholism, even things like obsessive worrying.
Worrying. That's interesting.
Yeah, Dr. Lemke herself talks about struggling with escapist novels, YouTube, chocolate, and worrying about her kids.
Wow, okay, so it's relatable.
Very. And patients too, like Riley with Netflix, TikTok, alcohol, processed food. Or Andy, whose issue was excessive exercise and really restrictive dieting.
So it can look very different for different people.
Absolutely.
So what's the key takeaway here? It sounds like awareness is the first big hurdle.
Awareness is huge, but it needs to be concrete, measurable. There's this method, the timeline follow-back method.
How does that work?
It helps you quantify your actual daily consumption. Like Riley, the patient mentioned, he used an app to track everything.
Oh.
He was genuinely shocked. He thought he maybe had a couple drinks here and there. Turns out it was 16 in 1 week.
16. Wow. That's way over the recommended limit.
Way over. And seeing that number, that data, brings the abstract problem into sharp focus. It makes it real.
Okay, I can see how that would be a wake-up call.
And this awareness, this act of tracking and seeing, it's directly linked to the prefrontal cortex.
Our brain's control center. The brakes.
Exactly. It's the part that helps us make conscious choices, plan, exert self-control. And like a muscle, using it strengthens it.
So by accurately narrating our behavior, like Riley did,
you create cognitive dissonance, that discomfort when your actions don't line up with your self-image. And that pushes you towards self-understanding.
And then there's the regret principle, like with Andy and his exercise.
Right. He eventually acknowledged the real harm, the physical injuries hurting his ex-wife, and recognizing that harm, that regret, became a powerful motivator for him to change.
Okay, so data first. Understand the what. What's next in the dopamine acronym?
The O is for objectives. Why do we do these things?
Right, the underlying reasons.
Dr. Lemke says it usually boils down to two main things: trying to have fun or trying to solve a problem.
Even behaviors that look irrational from the outside.
Often, yeah, there's usually some kind of internal logic, even if it's flawed. We might be trying to manage fatigue or lessen pain or cope with anxiety or depression, or sometimes just numb out.
Like Andy, trying to look muscular and feel superior through exercise.
Exactly. That was his objective. But here's the critical part. There's almost always a gap.
A gap?
Between what? Between the objective we think we're achieving and what's actually happening. The real outcome.
Ah, okay. Like Dr. Lemke with her worrying.
Perfect example. She thought worrying made her a better, more prepared mother.
Good.
Her kids told her it just made them anxious and less likely to actually tell her things. The opposite effect.
Wow. And the patient who thought cannabis made him creative.
Yeah, he looked back and realized he actually produced more work, better work, when he was sober.
And Riley, using YouTube to avoid breakup feeling.
The feelings just kept coming back. It wasn't solving the problem.
Or Andy wanting to get stronger but ending up injured.
Exactly. The intention was there, but the outcome was often the opposite of what was desired.
And it's that gap between what we tell ourselves and what's really going on.
That's why taking a break, that dopamine fast we'll talk about, is so crucial. It gives you the space to actually see that gap, to gain real insight. Without the pause, you're just stuck in the loop.
Okay, that makes sense. So to really understand why we get stuck in these loops, we need to get into the problems, the neuroscience.
Right, let's talk dopamine. It was identified back in 1957. Crucial neurotransmitter. Reward pathways.
But it's not just about pleasure, is it? That's a common misconception.
That's a really key distinction Dr. Lemke makes. Dopamine is actually much more about motivation, the drive, the seeking, the wanting of the reward, more than the enjoyment of the reward itself.
Oh, the anticipation is key.
Very key. And if you connect that to addiction, it follows. The more dopamine something releases and the faster it releases it.
The more addictive it is.
Exactly. And the numbers are pretty stark. Chocolate might raise dopamine by 55% over baseline.
Okay.
Sex, maybe 100%. Nicotine, 150%. Cocaine, 225%. And amphetamines.
You mentioned this earlier.
A staggering 1,000% increase.
Whoa, that really puts it in perspective. It's not just about feeling good, it's about that massive surge of motivation hitting your brain circuits.
Precisely. And this leads us to the famous pleasure-pain balance.
The teeter-totter analogy.
Yeah, imagine that seesaw in your brain. Always trying to stay level. That's homeostasis.
So pleasure tips it one way, pain tips it the other.
Right. But the brain hates being off balance. It wants equilibrium.
Okay.
So as soon as you get that dopamine hit, that pleasure tips the scale, the brain immediately deploys countermeasures. Neuroadaptation.
These are the gremlins she talks about.
Yeah, that's her vivid term for it. These gremlins hop on the pain side of the seesaw to bring it back to level.
Okay, so they counteract the pleasure.
They do, but often they overshoot. They tip you into an equal and opposite state of pain afterwards. That's the hangover, the come down, the craving.
Ah, so the mechanism that restores balance also drives the craving for more.
Exactly. That opponent process is crucial. And here's the kicker. If you don't wait for those gremlins to hop off, if you use again too soon,
They don't just leave.
they multiply. They set up camp on the pain side. More and more of them.
Oh, wow. So they're always there weighing down the pain side.
Pretty much. And that fundamentally shifts your brain's baseline, your hedonic set point, over to the side of pain.
So you're starting from a deficit.
Precisely. This new chronic state of imbalance is called allostasis. Your level is now tilted towards pain.
And that's why people keep using, even when it's destroying their lives.
Yes. Because at that point, you're not using to feel good anymore. You're using just to stop feeling bad, just to get back to zero or what feels like zero.
You get those universal withdrawal symptoms.
Anxiety, irritability, insomnia, that general feeling of unease or dysphoria, and intense craving. It explains relapse even when someone rationally knows they're better off without the substance.
Like the patient Max, cycling through 14 different drugs.
He was chasing that relief, trying to escape the allostatic state his brain was stuck in.
And this isn't just an individual tragedy, is it? There are broader implications.
Absolutely. It's collective, it's systemic. Dr. Lemke points out that the poor and undereducated in wealthy nations are often hit hardest.
Why is that?
Easy access to these really potent, high-reward drugs or behaviors, but often lacking those healthier, adaptive rewards.
Like meaningful work, Strong communities, safe housing.
Exactly. And that dangerous combination contributes to what some economists call deaths of despair, addictions, suicide, liver disease, especially in certain groups.
And beyond human cost, there's the planet.
Yeah, our collective overconsumption has huge environmental consequences. We're rapidly using up resources. It's sobering.
Okay, so we've really dug into the D, the O, and the P, the data, objectives, and problems. It's a complex picture.
It is. But the framework doesn't stop there. Now we get to the solutions.
Right, the path to rebalancing. What can we actually do?
This brings us to the A in dopamine. Actually, the first A, abstinence.
The dopamine fast.
Exactly. It means completely stopping your substance or behavior of choice for a significant period, long enough to let those pathways reset.
How long are we talking?
Dr. Lemke generally recommends 4 weeks for most people.
4 weeks. Why that specific time frame?
Well, it seems to be practical long enough to make a difference, but not so long it feels impossible.
Okay.
And clinical experience suggests it takes about that long for those gremlins to finally hop off the pain side, for homeostasis to start being restored.
So the brain starts to level out again.
Largely, yes.
Yeah.
Now, even if you do less time, say a week or two, it might not fully reset your baseline dopamine, but it can still give you that huge aha moment, just realizing how hard it is to stop, how much mental energy it takes. That insight alone is valuable.
And the potential impact is significant, right? You mentioned a study.
Yeah, a really striking one. Men hospitalized for heavy drinking who also had depression. 4 weeks of just abstinence, no specific depression meds added in the study context.
And the result?
80% no longer met the criteria for major depression after just those 4 weeks.
80%. That's huge compared to typical treatment response rates.
It really highlights how much the substance use itself can be driving or exacerbating mood disorders.
So how do you know if the fast is working for you?
You'll start to feel it. Those withdrawal symptoms, the anxiety, irritability, craving, they start to lessen.
Okay.
And importantly, you start finding pleasure in smaller, everyday things again. A good conversation, a walk outside, music. Things that maybe felt flat before.
Your brain's resensitizing to normal rewards.
Exactly. It's remembering how to find joy in simpler things.
Okay, so abstinence creates the space. What's the second A in the framework?
The second A is for asceticism. Or maybe a less intimidating word is hormesis.
Hormesis. Okay, what does that mean?
It's about intentionally leaning into things that are difficult, uncomfortable, maybe even a little painful.
Wait, why would we do that? We just got off the pain side.
Right. It sounds counterintuitive. But it's about aligning our biology, which is wired for physical struggle and occasional scarcity, with our modern world, which mostly insulates us from discomfort.
And that lack of struggle.
It breeds problems. Lethargy, anxiety, depression. We're not meant to be comfortable all the time.
So how does seeking discomfort help dopamine?
This is the cool part. When you intentionally press on the pain side of the balance through effort or discomfort, the brain's response is for the gremlins to hop over to the pleasure side to compensate.
So you get dopamine indirectly.
Exactly. You pay the price up front with the effort or discomfort, and then you get a gradual, sustained rise in dopamine that doesn't crash below baseline afterwards. You avoid that deficit state.
What kind of activities are we talking about?
Things like moderate exercise, not extreme. Ice-cold showers or plunges.
Ooh, brave.
Intermittent fasting, meditation, even simple things like doing chores without distracting yourself with music or podcasts. Just being present with the task.
So it's about embracing effort and mild stress.
Mild, tolerable stressors, yes. The dopamine release is slower, more gentle, and lasts longer.
That makes sense. But it's hard to remember that delayed good feeling when you're facing the discomfort, isn't it?
Totally. Dr. Lemke herself admits she forgets how good exercise feels afterwards when she's trying to motivate herself in the morning.
So what helps?
She literally writes herself a note to future self, reminding her of the payoff. It's a simple trick, but it can bridge that motivation gap.
That's practical. But there's a caution here too, right?
Yeah.
About not overdoing the pain.
Absolutely crucial. This isn't about masochism or extreme endurance tests. You don't want to fall into that work hard, play hard trap.
Where extreme stress just leads back to wanting an intense reward.
Exactly. Too much stress, too much pain can actually trigger a relapse into those compulsive behaviors. Remember the rat study?
With the foot shocks?
Yeah. When stressed, even after being abstinent, the rat immediately went back to seeking cocaine. Stress is a powerful trigger.
So find healthy discomfort, but also actively avoid unnecessary, overwhelming stressors.
That's the balance. It's about intentional, moderate challenge, not chronic, debilitating stress.
Okay, so we have abstinence and asceticism hormesis. What comes next?
M is for mindfulness.
Ah, mindfulness. It comes up a lot these days.
It does, and for good reason, especially during that dopamine fast, particularly the first, say, 10 to 14 days, which are often the toughest.
Why then?
Because that's when the withdrawal is usually most intense and the cravings are loud. Mindfulness isn't about making those feelings go away.
What is it about then?
It's about observing them. Noticing the thoughts, the feelings, the physical sensations with curiosity, with compassion, but without reacting automatically, without immediately trying to escape them.
Just watching the storm.
Kind of, yeah. Recognizing that our brains are storytelling machines. And during withdrawal, they spin some very convincing stories to get us to use again.
Lemke calls them the voices of craving.
Exactly, like Andy, the exercise addict. His craving voice would say, just 20 more minutes, I need this to feel in control.
But his mindful response, his counter-narrative,
Became, if I continue, I'll make my injuries worse. This isn't control, this is part of the illness. That space, that observation, allowed him to choose differently.
that takes practice, I imagine.
A lot of practice. Another big challenge during abstinence is simply boredom.
Boredom seems so trivial compared to intense cravings.
It seems trivial, but Dr. Lemke suggests it often masks something deeper, maybe that existential terror of just being alive without constant stimulation.
Wow, okay. That sounds heavy.
It can be uncomfortable. We're so used to filling every spare moment, but here's the flip side.
Yeah.
Boredom can actually be a gateway, a space where creativity can emerge, where new thoughts can surface if we just allow it to happen.
Instead of instantly reaching for the phone or the snack or whatever it is.
Exactly. Learning to tolerate boredom can be surprisingly productive.
Okay, so mindfulness helps us navigate the difficult parts of abstinence. What's the I?
I is for insight.
Gaining understanding.
Yes, because
Yeah.
when we're caught up in chasing dopamine, we lose perspective. We can't see the true cause and effect of our actions clearly.
The dopamine fast creates the space.
And the insight often follows. Patients are frequently surprised. They'll say things like, wow, I really thought pot was helping my anxiety, but now that I've stopped, I see it was making it so much worse.
Or the YouTube example seemed harmless, but realizing it fueled depression.
Precisely. That clarity only comes with a distance. And this insight ties directly into another powerful concept,
Which is
radical honesty.
radical honesty. Okay, sounds intense.
It's a commitment to telling the truth all the time, even about the small stuff, the little white lies.
The Lemke mentions the average adult tells, what, 1 or 2 lies a day?
Yeah, which sounds low, but it adds up. So the question becomes, what happens when you consciously decide to stop? How does telling the truth change you?
Does it literally change the brain?
Well, that's the intriguing idea. We know stimulating the prefrontal cortex, our honesty center, in a way can reduce lying.
Okay.
So Dr. Lemke speculates, maybe the act of telling the truth itself strengthens those prefrontal circuits, like practicing scales on a piano.
What fires together wires together, applied to truth-telling.
Exactly. It's a fascinating hypothesis.
What are the other benefits of radical honesty?
It definitely enhances intimacy. Vulnerability, being truthful about your feelings and experiences, tends to bring people closer. It might even trigger oxytocin, that bonding hormone, along with some healthy dopamine.
Makes sense.
It also fosters what she calls a plenty mindset. When you trust that interactions are generally honest, you build confidence in the world, you feel safer.
Instead of being suspicious or guarded.
Right. And maybe most importantly, it allows for pro-social shame.
Pro-social shame. Isn't shame bad?
Toxic shame, the kind that makes you hide and isolate, is destructive. But pro-social shame happens in a supportive community. It's that healthy pang of guilt when you realize you've messed up, which prompts you to apologize, make amends, and reconnect. It signals belonging.
Okay. It's corrective, not isolating.
Exactly. And the book gives examples, like Riley's lie about where he was sleeping seemed tiny, but it created distance, went against his values. Seeing those small dishonesties adds up.
And there's even an exercise for looking back.
Yeah, adapted from the AA Step 4 inventory. It's about retrospective, radical honesty, looking at past conflicts or problems, and really honestly assessing your own part in them.
That sounds challenging, but potentially very freeing.
It can be. Insight requires honesty.
Okay, data, objectives, problems, abstinence, asceticism, mindfulness, insight. We're up to N.
N is for next steps. planning for life after the dopamine fast.
Because for many, it's not about quitting forever, right?
Right. Most people, after a successful fast, see the benefits but still want to reintroduce the substance or behavior in a more controlled, healthier way. Moderation.
So you need a plan.
Absolutely. Like Justin, the video game patient. His plan was really specific.
What did it involve?
He decided only 2 days a week, max 2 hours per session. He deliberately avoided the super immersive, potent games that really sucked him in.
Smart.
He used a totally separate laptop just for gaming, nothing else. Created a physical barrier.
Self-binding.
Exactly. And maybe the most interesting part, he decided to only play with friends online.
Why only with friends?
To leverage the gaming time to strengthen social connections, which are themselves a really healthy, adaptive source of dopamine. It turned a potentially isolating activity into a pro-social one.
That's a great example of a thoughtful plan.
So for you listening, after a fast, the questions become, what is your plan? Is it continued abstinence? Is it moderation? If moderation, what are the specific rules?
And what are your personal red flags?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
warning signs that you're slipping back into old patterns.
And what self-binding strategies will you use, like Justin's separate laptop or fixed time? Having concrete answers to these questions is key.
Okay, which brings us to the final letter, E.
E is for experiment.
Experiment.
Yeah, because life isn't static. It's an ongoing process. You make a plan, but then you have to see how it works in the real world.
Things change.
Exactly. Some people might stick to their plan perfectly, others might relapse completely. Most will likely fall somewhere in between. Meaning you'll need to make constant small adjustments, little tweaks here and there based on how things are going. Dr. Lemke uses the analogy of balancing a beam on top of a ball.
Takes continuous effort.
Continuous, conscious micro-adjustments to stay balanced. It's not about setting a plan and forgetting it.
It's an ongoing practice.
It really is. So a crucial part of this is regularly checking in. How's it going? What's working well right now? What's not working so well? What one small change can I make today to improve things?
Not aiming for perfection, but consistent practice and adjustment.
That's the essence of the experiment phase. It's a lifelong journey, really.
Wow. Okay, so we've journeyed through dopamine. Let's try to synthesize this. What does this deep dive into Dopamine Nation really mean for you, the listener?
I think the biggest takeaway is seeing how that constant chase for pleasure, especially easy pleasure, paradoxically often leads us straight to pain. That pleasure-pain balance is real.
But the hopeful message is that recovery, or rebalancing, starts with that period of abstinence.
Absolutely. It gives your brain a chance to reset those reward pathways, to rediscover joy in simpler, more sustainable things.
And things like self-binding are crucial tools.
Definitely. Creating that space, that friction between the desire and actually consuming is incredibly powerful.
And then there's leaning into discomfort, the hormesis idea.
Yeah, that counterintuitive approach of using mild voluntary stress like exercise or cold exposure to actually boost your feel-good chemicals indirectly without the crash.
And radical honesty seems central to the whole process, too.
It really threads through everything. It builds self-awareness, deepens connections with others, fosters that sense of trust or plenty in the world, and helps us feel like we belong.
So it's not a one-time fix. It's really a journey of constant adjustment.
Continuous learning, yeah.
Wow.
Learning to engage with the world and with yourself, fully discomfort and all, rather than constantly trying to escape through quick hits of dopamine.
It's about embracing the whole experience.
I think so.
So, as we wrap up, here's something to think about, a final thought for you to mull over. In this world that we've built, this world practically engineered for instant gratification, what's one small intentional discomfort you could choose to lean into today? Not as punishment, but as a way to maybe cultivate a deeper, more lasting kind of joy.